Hello everyone, welcome to the first actual video where we'll be doing some form of learning. But again, sorry, this is a bit of an introduction video, but we will be going through what a computer exactly is. There's a lot of, there's so many different types of computers. It's very, very crucial for us to first know what exactly a computer is and how to define a computer first before we can carry on with the ins and outs. But we will be going through the ins and outs eventually as well. So the first thing I would like to point out is that the definition of a computer. So our definition, this isn't exact. This is sort of a general definition, but it must have some kind of processing. So it must be able to do some kind of processing. Excuse my spelling. So if it has processing, this means it computes something. You take some input and I can do some kind of some algorithm. I can do some function on it and I can create an output for it. Now our brains are processors, so can we call our brain a computer? Well, that's an interesting question, which probably is out of scope for this course, unfortunately, but I advise you to look into it. It's an interesting topic. So the other thing we need, and just like our brains, as well as being able to do calculations, we need to be able to have memory. Now this is interesting because our brains are exactly like the computer so far. So memory, what do we mean by memory? Well, let's say when I'm doing a calculation that's very hard, let's say, I don't know, 512 multiplied by 150, let's say. Well, in the interim of this, so whilst I figure this out, I'm going to need to do something here to get to the answer. So the answer could be X here, whatever the answer is. Sorry, I haven't figured out the answer in my head. That's pretty bad. But it's the bit of calculation in between that you need memory for, right? I've done this interim calculation. I've done this little calculation in between. We can sort of find out how much we need to add to. We need to multiply this by this and then add to it, etc. So it's the back of the envelope stuff. I like to think of memory as the back of the envelope stuff. The other thing we obviously need in a computer is some kind of, I'm going to say power rather than battery, because it's not necessarily a battery that they always use. So if you have something like a SIM card, for example, a SIM card's a great example of an actual computer. It's got its own processor, it's got its own memory, and the power supply comes from your phone. So actually the SIM card is a standalone computer on itself. And whilst we're on a topic, what you tend to get on a general desktop or any computer, especially mobile phones, is computers within computers, which we'll be going through that concept soon. Don't worry, we'll cover computers within computers. But this is the general idea that, well, if I have a processor, memory, and some kind of power, then technically I've got a computer in most languages. So I think this is a reasonably good place to stop. We can carry on and look at what this central processing unit is, what RAM is, and then what power supplies are. We can also then have a look into things like the graphics cards and etc. We can go out into everything. We will be doing this quite in depth, so please, if you do already know quite a lot about computers, it may be worth watching these videos anyway, because you may pick up things that you hadn't heard of before. So we will be going through processing in terms of doing it by hand. We can do these things. I'll show you how they do it. I'll show you how they multiply. I'll show you how they add things up. I'll show you how they do error correction and checking for errors and things like that. And I'll try and put some physics into it as well, so you can understand what exactly is going on behind the scenes here. Same as memory and power and all the other things. This is the hope for the depth of the course. I appreciate that it's quite a lot of knowledge so far, so I'll definitely stop the video here, and I'll see you in the next video.